What's up, my beautiful brothers and sisters? It's your girl, Dr. Shonna. Here's a story where the video starts out like this. Let me paint the picture. As a young woman, she goes by the name of Sky. She was at the gas pump pumping gas into her car when she noticed a number of police officers surround this one black male. His name is, let me see what his name is. Give me a second. William Ewell, or Ewell. William is his name. And she starts to immediately start recording this video. Now, in the video, you can see some women who look like they were maybe Pacific Islanders. They may have been some type of Asian, not too sure, but they look like they were Pacific Islanders. That's what they look like. And one had her Glock drawn. The other one had a AR-15 drawn. Now, that is a rifle, okay? That is an assault rifle, right? And they're both pointing at the guy. From the video, there's another officer that has a gun drawn too, which looks like it's pointing sort of in the direction of the person that's filming. But I am not saying that they was pointing their gun at Sky. I'm not saying that because cameras have a way of making us believe something that doesn't exist. So I want to make that very clear. However, the point is there were multiple cars, multiple police officers with multiple guns drawn on this one suspect that is sitting or kneeling down on the sidewalk. His back is facing them, so he's not even in their direction. His hands are behind his head. He's not moving. So therefore, the way they were positioned, they were already overpowering this man. And Luke Cage is saying, could this also be psychological warfare against us? Could it? It absolutely is. It absolutely is. That's right, Mimi. Think first and react later. This is psychological warfare, it's spiritual warfare, and it's outright war. And it always has been since the minute they defined who we were when they brought us over here. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about that. So William should have kept his damn mouth shut. Now William opens his big damn mouth, right? And it's caught on tape. So William can't even say that he didn't say that because it's caught on tape. The video is viral. Everybody is watching it. And he is heard telling his account of the incident on tape that is now circulating all through America. What the hell is going on here? You better tell your sons and your daughters to shut their damn mouths. Start teaching your children how to play chess in the American society, because checkers don't work with people who have been trained for war since the minute they were born. It doesn't work. You have got to have a sick mind to be a colonizer. You have got to have a sick mind to be an oppressor. You have to have a sick mind to enslave people. And the problem is, we're interacting with these people like they are sane. They are not sane. They are sick. Do you understand me? And because we have been conditioned to behave how they want us to behave, they have created us to look even more sick than they are. Keep your mouth shut. Understand the people you are dealing with. So let's move on to this press release. I'm getting through this, guys. Y'all bear with me. I'm almost done. I'm getting through this, people. So the press release has come out. Make sure y'all share the video. Thank you so much for all the love and the support and the hearts. Yes, that's right, Michael. We must be trained because this is war. So here is the press release. I'm going to say some things that's going to make some people feel some kind of way, and that's okay. But we got to be able to talk the truth. We got to be able to see things from an objective standpoint. We got to see it from multiple angles and not just one. We can't always be the victims here. So the press release says, from Hawthorne Police Department, you guys can find it online, so y'all can know what I'm reading, see how it looks, find it online. That's why we have to do our research. On Friday, June 7th, around 6:45 a.m., an officer on routine patrol was at the intersection of Prairie Avenue and El Segundo. I left my wallet in El Segundo. Remember that song? Okay, sorry, my bad. Where she observed, you already know. Okay, I'll get to this later. Where she observed people at the corner gas station trying to get her attention. An employee of the gas station pointed to a male subject who had walked across the street stating that he assaulted an employee and walked out of the store. Simultaneously, a witness at the same time, here we go, a witness called 911 to report a robbery that just had occurred at the location and that there were possible weapons involved. Let me stop right there. Now, I was not there. Let me just put that on the record. I was not there. You weren't there. We were not there. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say there isn't a 911 call. That has to be determined. All 911 calls are recorded. So it's easy to pull the tape to see what the tape says. But here's what I'm going to say. There's always going to be a witness. And when they see a black person, whether they know the information or not, they're always going to report that we are armed. So why am I saying this? I'm not saying this to criticize this. I'm not saying that this police department is lying. I'm not saying any of that. We know something happened. We know the people came out the stores. We already know that there was a scuffle in the store because William's ass already admitted to it. Thank you, William. Thank you. We already know that stuff happened. But here's why this is so important. Because it's already telling you that a 911 call came in and said there's a possibility of weapons being involved in this altercation. We got to leave our house already assuming that if a 911 call came in and the cops pulled us over, and even though we may not have been involved, even though that may be the case, we must always assume the 911 call alleged that we had weapons. Let me say that again. We must always assume that the 911 call alleged that we have weapons, that we are armed and dangerous. The fact that America has defined who we are since the beginning and before race was determined in this country, we have already been subjected to the lowest form of humans, and we have already been given the titles of criminal, rapist, violent, promiscuous. You name the research, you name the history is there. We have already been given all these titles. So you ought to assume that in 2019, if a phone call comes in and somebody stops you because you fit the description, even if you loosely fit the description, you better automatically assume that you are armed and dangerous. Because they need to justify everything that they do. They need to justify everything that they do. And the fact that a call came in saying that you had a weapon, you are automatically going to be a threat. So if you move your head the wrong way, they're going to assume you're going to do something that's going to put one of their lives at stake, and they're going to pop a bullet in you. If you move your hand the wrong way, they're going to assume that you're going to get a gun, and they're going to feel threatened, and they're going to pop a bullet in you. If you walk a certain way and they assume that you have a weapon on you and you might be going for it, they're going to feel threatened, and they're going to pop a bullet in you. Do you understand what I'm saying? You got to start analyzing this information. We got to start looking at all the facts and all the history and put this stuff out so we can better understand how they are viewing us and how they are responding to us, and what can we do to minimize or decrease the loss of life. Because the name of this game is to stay alive. That's the name of this game. The name of this game is to stay alive, not death by homicide. The name of this game is to stay alive, not death by assumed suicide, Sandra Bland, right? The name of this game is to stay alive. So we tell our children, our brothers, our husbands, our cousins, our nephews, our neighbors, our friends, or our clients that we work with, if we help them to shift their thinking and to assume that they're always a threat, maybe we might decrease the harm that is done to us. Because these jokers go to the shooting range every day, and the shooting range is located on your block and in my block, and we are the targets. We got to understand that. We got to understand that. Let me go on with this report. Thank you guys for the love and sharing the video. I really do appreciate that. Let me go on to the report. It says the officer drove across the intersection to detain the subject that the store employees were pointing to. After assistant officers arrived, the subject was handcuffed and detained for further investigation. The subject was identified as William Ewell, 24 years old, from Inglewood. But let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. You got to listen to that paragraph right there. Saying after assistant officers arrived, the subject was handcuffed and detained for further investigation. It doesn't say that we had AR-15s drawn. It doesn't say that we had SWAT gear on. It doesn't say that we had 20 cop cars already present before the 50th cop car arrived. It doesn't say that we had the red beam on his head, because if he made one move, we was going to bring that joker down. It doesn't say any of that on the report, and it would never say anything incriminating. The only people that incriminate themselves are us. Did y'all hear me? The only people that incriminate themselves is us. Us. Because they know how to remove the emotions out of their report, and they know how to say whatever they need to say just in case it gets brought into court and is given over to the jury for examination. And they know how to suppress the videos that we take to keep it out of court. They know how to do all of this. But we are the ones that don't think before we speak. And I'm not saying all of us. I want to make that very clear. I am not saying all of us. I'm saying too many of us. You're right, Michael. Michael said they will never give the real story. And why should they? Why should they? We are the ones thinking we're doing something good by giving a whole story, and then they're the ones that take our words and twist it around to fit their own narrative and their purpose. So the report goes on and says, a second subject was pointed out by the employees to other respondent officers. The subject was in the AM/PM lot, that's the store lot, where he was also detained while officers determined what had occurred. He was identified as Antoine Freeman, 38 years old, from Hawthorne. Officers determined that Ewell had walked into the AM/PM mini mart with another unidentified subject, suspect number 3, along with Freeman, and began arguing with the female cashier over a prior purchase. Ewell then walked behind the counter where the cashier was standing and forcefully grabbed the store items from the display. The female cashier attempted to stop Ewell, at which time she was assaulted by the subjects, plural. Employees were able to force them out of the store. While outside, an employee was hit by a trash can in the face thrown by Ewell. Let me stop right there for a second. So you got to understand what's happening here. We got to understand what is happening here. So his story has already corroborated that something happened, because the fact that he on camera saying that, no, they assaulted me, they was hitting me. Maybe they were. Maybe it was in self-defense. But now when their whole story, the officer's whole story, makes it seem like the store employees are the victims. The officers wrote down in their press release as though the employees of the business, they're the victims. We don't know what the videotape in the store, if it is one, what it looks like. We don't know what happened. We don't know if they paid for something they were trying to leave, and these people in the AM, PM mini mart wanted to be about it and put their hands on them, and then they struck back. We don't know what happened. But we know what went out in the public, because now this propaganda, that's exactly what it is propaganda, and is used to shape the mindset of the people. It went out to the public. It went out to the public. And now these jokers are all already looking like they're animals. And by golly, I hope none of them have a criminal record, because that's going to be the next thing that's going to be plastered all over the news, because now they look bad because of that viral video. We got to understand the chess games that are being played here. We have to understand the psychology that is being used on us that we continuously fall for. We have to understand all of these things because it negatively impacts us. You understand what I'm saying? Their narrative is all that matters. They was arresting 2 out of 3 criminals that assaulted employees. They don't even have to put the alleged suspect's story. They don't even have to put their side of the information. They're already guilty in America before they're proven innocent. And that's exactly what it says. It says that we were justified to do all of this. It doesn't say whether the employee who got hit with the trash can, it doesn't say for a fact that it was William. It doesn't say that she identified William out of a line up with everybody that was there. It doesn't say any of that. It automatically says William hit her in the face with the trash can. There's no forensic evidence. It doesn't speak of a video. It doesn't speak of any of that. But William's ass is on camera saying, no, they assaulted me. That's Arnold. Arnold is saying, this makes me so angry. It should. It should make you angry. Because what it says to me is that we need to do a better job of how we are A, raising our children, and B, how we're educating our children. We need to do a better job and see how we're preparing our children to respond and react in America. We need to do a better job. Because these jokers had their system played out. And they have 400 years of practice. So they are the experts. And we are the amateurs. They are the experts. And we are the amateurs. They are the experts. And we are the amateurs. What's going on, Brother Philip? Think my mom is on. What's going on, Sister Anifa, Queen Mother? So lastly, it says, Ewell and Freeman were arrested and booked at the Hawthorne Police Department. Officers were not able to locate the third suspect. The investigation is being handled by Hawthorne Police Investigation Bureau. We are traumatized, people. We are traumatized. Make sure y'all share the video. Share the video. And I got to say this to us, sisters and brothers. As long as police officers, judges, white men and women are present, and I know this sounds bold and it sounds mean, but it's not. Just hear me out. Just hear me out, because I understand how trauma works. I understand how exposure works. I understand what it does to the mind psychologically. And like my brother Nick said, they want us to be traumatized. They want us to respond how we are responding. We are giving these jokers everything they want to see from us. And even those who claim to be innocent, and we have no proof that they are guilty, even these jokers who claim to be innocent, and we have no proof that they are guilty. Even these jokers who are our friends, who are our neighbors, our co-workers, our lovers, our husbands, our wives, who are a part of that society, who are descendants of Neanderthals, even those jokers want us to be traumatized. You better believe it. You better believe it. Because as long as we walk around with this trauma, and as long as we keep reacting the way we do, we have made these jokers subconsciously superior in our mind, and we don't even know it. As long as these jokers, including the police, the lawyers, the judges, the doctors, little old Becky who calls the police on people barbecuing, Dick, Richard, and Robert, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as they are present, our trauma will show up as anxiety, fear, ruminating thoughts. Some of us are so stuck on ruminating thoughts. What are ruminating thoughts? Let me tell you what ruminating thoughts are. And ruminating thoughts is when you have your mind is stuck on negative thoughts, low energy thoughts, low vibrations, when you ruminate, when you're stuck there and you can't see much of anything beyond that. You ever met a pessimistic person and everything that comes out their mouth is negative? Everything they see and think, they see it from a negative perspective or a negative lens, is because their thoughts are stuck in a negative state. That's rumination. And every time these jokers are around, there are a lot of us who are ruminating in our thoughts, and the only thing we see is what is happening to us. We can't talk about anything else. We can't think about anything else. And as long as we are traumatized and we are experiencing ruminating thoughts, we are going to be prohibited from nation building, because we're going to be so caught up in always talking about the trauma that's happening to us, and always sharing information and content about the trauma that is happening to us. And the only discussions we want to have or be a part of are about the trauma that's happening to us. And as long as our mind is focused there, there's no way in hell we can nation build. We have got to understand the psychology. We have got to understand the psychological warfare that we are under. And the reason why I say these Neanderthals love that is because it keeps us docile, it keeps us passive, and it keeps us inactive. Did you hear me? They love us to be traumatized. They love us to operate in anxiety. They love us to operate in fear. They love us to display ruminating thoughts, because it keeps us immobilized. It keeps us from organizing. It keeps us from strategizing. It keeps us from nation building. Trauma keeps us reactionary. Trauma keeps us reactionary. That's the kind of stuff y'all need to be writing down. Here's a free therapy session for you. Trauma keeps us reactionary. And every time we turn on the television, we're traumatized. And every time we look at a video on social media, we are traumatized. And every time we pick up an article or we read a blog, we are traumatized. And every time we walk out of our community and we see one of these jokers standing on our corner, we are traumatized. And we are reacting emotionally constantly, and it's keeping us from nation building. It's keeping us from playing chess. We got to understand that. Keeps us reactionary. I got to get out of here soon, guys. I got 10 minutes and I'm gone. Thank you guys for sharing the video. Thank you guys for your love and support. Thank you for your love and support. Thank you for liking and following this page. Thank you for being my sisters and brothers in the struggles. Thank you for being willing to nation build. Thank you, every last one of you guys. Thank you for trusting me with helping those of you guys who are part of my community offline with healing. Thank you. Thank you. Because this cannot be done with one person. It takes all of us. And as long as we are operating in our trauma, we will never get the work done. We have too many emotional reactions. And some of us, we only talk about this traumatizing stuff all day. Each and every day. Because we are not taking the time to heal. We got to pay attention to everything that's causing us to react. these viral videos that are out there. You can watch it on your own, but I'm not going to share it. If I share it, it's for a reason. It's for a purpose. And it's seldom do I share these kind of videos, but they are out there and they are traumatizing and it keeps us immobilized. We got to pay attention to our own mental health. As long as we are not going into counseling, you don't need to be like going through depression or anything. You can go to counseling from these jokers terrorizing us. And we need to. We need to. You don't got to have anything going on in your life personally to go to go to therapy. The fact that you are a black man or a black woman, you walking around in America, is an automatic acceptance of the fact that you got to go to therapy. You understand what I'm saying? Because we're traumatized, and I see it. I see it based on the stuff that we talk about every single day. And that's why I share a variety of things on my pages. I understand we got to stay conscious, aware, and woke. I understand it, but I also know that we got to see good things. We got to see the lives of other people. We got to share videos. We got to promote love. We can't always just promote love, love, love and not the truth, because then we get deceived. But we have to have a balance because we are traumatized. And some people don't understand. We don't need it to directly to happen to us to have secondary trauma. Or as in my field, we call it vicarious trauma. We are experiencing vicarious trauma, the same as secondary trauma, meaning it happened to you, I watched it on video, and now I'm traumatized. I was traumatized watching that video, and I saw it. I felt my body change. I felt my emotions respond, and I knew how to calm myself down because I do this for a living. And that's why I'm able to speak to you guys about being reactionary. And that's why I'm able to speak to you guys by giving you nothing but hardcore strategies, facts, and ideas. But when you're traumatized, you are not able to think critically. You may think you're thinking critically. You may think you're thinking critically. But if you are ruminating in your thoughts, if the only thing you focus on is the same goddamn conversation over and over again, you're traumatized. We're constantly triggered. Constantly. Social media is a source of trigger. Television is a source of trigger. Blogs, conversations. Walking out of your house and seeing these Neanderthals in your community is a source of trigger. We need to strategize. So here's what I'm leaving you with. Somebody's telling me they're messing with the live. I look good on my end. Anybody else is having a problem with the live? Mommy, I don't know what's happening with your live. I look good on my end. But y'all gotta let me know. So here's what I want y'all to write down. Here's a strategy I'm leaving you guys with. I got 6 minutes and I'm out of here. Share the video because the last 6 minutes might actually help somebody. I think the whole damn thing will, but the last 6 minutes might actually help somebody. So we need to start to strategize and organize. And we've been hearing this constantly. We've been hearing this constantly. We've been hearing this constantly. But how many of us are strategizing and organizing? And like I said, until you fix those ruminating thoughts in your head, if the only thing that comes out of your mouth is hatred and I hate them and I hate that and crack at this and devil this, and that's the only thing that comes out of your mind, you are stuck in a stage of ruminating, and I will bet you that you are not taking action to nation build. I will bet you are not taking action to nation build. The most things that you're probably doing is feeding yourself more trauma, eating it up like a bowl of cereal. So here's what we're going to do. We got to first recognize that the lack of organization in history has always been our greatest downfall. So what are we going to do differently? I want us to start studying the way we have organized in the past. It's going to require you to read some books. It's going to require you to watch some documentaries, even though some of them are subjective, right? But you got to take the meat and leave the bones. Get what you can out of it for the purpose of organizing. That's all you're doing it for. Not for the purpose of retaining information, but to see what they did and what they did right and what they did wrong so you can know what not to do. Because if you lack the knowledge and the understanding of how organization is to occur, you will never do it. Organization requires a science. There are many of us, including myself, who have degrees in organization. Even though I'm a social worker and I have a doctorate in social work, I have a master in social work. Even in my master's, my major was administration and community organization and planning. I was not a clinical in my master's study. I was an administrator and community organizer and planner, right? From Hunter College. It is a science behind it. And our greatest downfall has always been insufficient organization, right? We also got to start challenging the narrative that I see out there. Everyone is saying to shoot these mofos, and when they kill us, we should kill them. I get it. I understand where it's coming from, but you have to understand where that's coming from, an emotional response, because we do not have the bullets or the what is that called? Artillery. We don't have the military operations to be able to go up against these devils. And if you got to understand the history of these devils and every resurrection that has happened on American soil. Yes, maybe 50 people were killed. Yes, maybe 100 people were killed. But let me tell you, more of us was killed than them. And we have to start to think critically. Just emotionally reacting is not only going to get you killed, but it's going to get your family killed, and innocent Black people. And that is in our history. I am not making this up. Because once they get it under control, because our bullets are going to run out faster than theirs. And throwing rocks ain't going to hurt them. Our bullets are going to run out faster than theirs. And once they gain control over our mini insurrection, because you already know we got more coons than powerful Black people, and it ain't never going to happen because we lack the organization. We lack the unity. We lack the self-love. And as long as we lack those things, we will not be successful with any acts of war that we take out on them. We got to be smart. We got to be smart. We'll end up like the move in Philadelphia. Y'all remember that? When they couldn't get them out of that house, they dropped bombs on them. Literally, on their neighborhood. Like somebody going to your block and dropping bombs on a row of your houses and buildings. Not caring who the hell they was going to kill. They're going to kill all of us. And what helicopters do we have to drop bombs on anybody? What armory do we have to go up against these jokers? We got to understand this. We got to understand this. But in the meantime, in between time, what can we address? What can we start to change? But here's the last thing that I want to say to you, and then I'm out of here. We have to understand what is happening. We have to understand the psychology behind the images that are used to display us. We have to look at all images, because all images is propaganda, and all images is sending a message that is nonverbal. And nonverbal communication is the strongest communication out there. If you don't believe me, look at the research. So what kind of images is being fed on your TV screen, is being fed through your social media feed? All of that stuff speaks to who you are. Even when you see all these biracial couples out here, right? Interracial couples out here, it is feeding an image into your psyche. And we have to be aware of the psychology behind images. We have to understand that our character has been created by the enemy himself. So he already knows what we're going to do before we do it, because he has created us. And I know there's people right here saying, no, God is my creator. Absolutely, Ashe, I understand that. But you got to understand that you are robotic. You have to understand that you are being socially conditioned and socially engineered. So you have been created by your worldly creator. And you have lost the source with your true divine God. And until you reconnect with the true God, you will forever serve his God, which is a white man. And people don't like to hear that. People ain't ready for that. People ain't ready for that. We must not be deceived by superficial change. Things that look like it glitters and shines doesn't always mean it does. So we have to stop being deceived that things have gotten better. And we have to really put on our third eye, so to speak, so we can pay attention to what is happening in the spiritual world. And when you lack the research and the knowledge of your true history, you will never know how to respond, because all your responses have been engineered. We must examine the power relationship between the white man and the black man to determine what needs to change. As long as we keep going into their businesses and buying their stuff, they will always maintain the power over us. As long as we are more happy to have their white women instead of our black women, they will always maintain the power over us. As long as we're knocking down doors to put them in their white schools as opposed to building our black schools, they will always maintain the power over us. As long as we want to look the way they look with their blonde wigs and we got on, their blonde hair, we got on our blonde weaves, we will always be subjected to their power. As long as we hate everything African, we will always be under their power and control. To the fact that we want to name our children white names, we will always be subjected to their control. We must rid ourselves of self-hatred. We must rid ourselves of self-hatred. We got to stop letting other people define who the hell we are. We got to stop arguing with each other about who we are. And the only thing we have to understand is our concept. The first thing we need to do to change our behaviors, to change our mind. And the minute we start seeing that we are race first, black over everything, no matter what. The minute we start seeing this and thinking this way, our behaviors will automatically change. But that is not possible as long as we are still operating out of self-hatred. Because we have been conditioned and engineered to behave this way. And it is enforced and reinforced consistently every day through the images that are put out there, the radios, the talk shows, the TV shows, everything that is propaganda has been put out there on purpose to keep us in our inferior status, and that is to keep us with a mindset of self-hatred. So when you see your brother and sister, you have to see your brother and sister through the eyes of love and say, I love everything about your kinky hair, your big nose. I love everything about your dark lips. I love everything about you. Your dark skin, your light skin, your long hair, your short hair, your locked hair, your permed hair. Instead of criticizing one another, because the more we criticize each other, the more we want to run to the white man, because he has been a source of safety for us. In many of our minds, because we have been conditioned to believe that, and that's why we are so loyal to them. I gotta get on out of here, guys. I'm 5 minutes late. And the last thing I'm gonna say is, as long as we degrade everything African, we will perpetuate self-hatred, and we will pass it down to our children and our children's children. So you wanna know why the things are happening to us the way they are happening to us is because we have been disconnected from the one true living God. And we hate ourselves. And the reason why I know we're disconnected from the one true living God is because we hate ourselves. Because if you didn't hate yourself, then you will understand that the black man and the black woman is God. You will understand that you are God. See, you've been taught to hate everything about you. And that's why I know you are disconnected from your creator, because you can't even see your creator to be anything like you. Your creator is white. And it ain't a white God. It's called the white man. So you guys make sure you go out there and share the video. Share the video. Love everything African, including yourself. You have to first accept the fact that you are an African. You have to first accept the fact that you are an African. You have to first accept the fact that you are an African. In order for you to rid yourself of self-hatred. So think black first, think race first. It doesn't mean you hate anybody else. I don't hate anybody else. I have no hate in my heart for anybody else. You got to think race first. You got to think black first. Because everyone else does. I love you, sisters and brothers. Share the video. Make sure you already hit follow and get my likes up. My follows are greater than my likes. Get my likes up so we can share the community, and I can keep you guys on point with some healing circles that I plan on starting here in New Jersey. I'm going to start some healing circles. We need to heal. I'm coming down. My next client is here. I got to go. I love you all. Peace and blessings, my brothers and sisters. Peace and blessings.